Government Degree College, Utnur, Adilabad. G. Vijay, Contract Faculty, Lecturer in Computer Science and Applications. The last class discussions about decision making and if statements give the operators and comparison operators. So both values in given true or false. This is the class of discussions about last class. So simple if statements conditions. Do you think a contains of a take a label box or text box, then output. There are two ways of giving. If the user enter as statements, in the text it's a input, it's a text box. In the text input text box or enter in S. So and answer. The condition will be evaluate to true and the text box entered S. Yes. In the label output, it's a label. If the user entered no, in the text input and text input in the text box, answer is given, the condition will be evaluate to false and the text output text box remain empty. This is the given of evaluate of false and the text output and text remaining empty. This is called a single if condition statements. A single if statements with code. Single statements with code. So some statements it's executed based on the decisions to regarding less than evaluate conditions. The following programs is a modify from the previous example of example. Give the following these statements. This is a if statements, the code of follow. Some evaluated these conditions can executed based on decisions of make this evaluated. So this is the given example. Private sub button if underscore click. This is the beginning of the window code forms, the perform of the executed these programs or modify or these programs. And next one if statement a text it's a input dot text equal to S. Text equal to S. Then a label output dot text equal to this will output to because the user entered S. The user entered S user entered S and end of this program the if statement, then give end if. This will be give the single line or single statements and given this, or given if then statements it's given multi lines. And label output dot text and equal single quotations give the, and this is here as well as end sub, and end of this programs end sub. This is the end subs and given the as well as given end sub, end of these programs. So the perform of the specified conditions is evaluated. A first conditions it's a false using else if then conditions it's a first two conditions it's a false, and then else if conditions, the next statements. You can evaluate any number of conditions with one if statements block. The following lines is code determines use else if to the possibility and contents of this variable false states are negative, 0 or positive, or 0 or negative value or positive value. This then given of values. So example, if a statement with code. So this value of given, if the entire it's a S or entire it's a entire is a text input text box, and entered no, it's a text input text box, it's a no. Give the answer, output will be add this is here. As well as is given yes or no. Then give the statements of given. These statements are given. This following of code window contains of label output and text box and given these statements. Private sub button if it's a check. And give the user value as a integer. User value as a integer. Int user value bracket text input dot text, it's a given variable values, it's taken integer value. And the next one, if int user value greater than 2, then label output dot text equal to the first statements, it's a print. The first statements is a print. Then label output dot text equal label output dot text, and is that second statements, it's given second statements, and give the end of these programs, and end if statement, and give the decisions of given the value of both value comparisons as first value and second statement and first statement, both value comparison the statements. if the user entered the text input text box, the output will be, and second statements it's a print. If the user entered second in the text input text box answer, it's given, output will be, and the second statements it's a print. The if the use, then text output text box. The multi statements and given printed of first value and second value, this is called as a given example of code window and code formats, and give the example. So if all the conditions is false, the program else statements and process these commands between else and if statements. You can write the conditions it's a false, and give the programs in statements procedure commands between the else state take between else take else statements, and after then and if the process continue for the any else if statements or the statements of condition. Then the conditions is false. Statements given, one statements and given false, and program write down else statements. Else statements it's a procedures of commands between and if statements. It's a then else statements is required. So give the code sequence of label output. So this is called as a given example methods. Then code window you can write in multi values. You take integer and multi values. Then the first statements it's a print of given, and second statements also given of print. The first statements, the select case and select the statements it's if. The statements identify the value to be given particular take values. The possible results, the value of represented by the text value argument. You can any numeric or strings including a variable or functions. Each conditions a group of commands. Each conditions or group of commands run of these commands the start by the case statements. A case statements identifies the text value, compares if the text value equal, and commands after case in the statements of given values. The programs run command buttons, the correct case statements and the next case statements or end select statements. If the text value of given equal value and comparisons of equal value, then given procedures of program methods. This is called as a statements of case. The applications will ask user enter in particular amount of the procedures of company has a the statements, it's a number given greater than 0, then the program's output that the produce in a stock values, otherwise a output that the procedures of given best solution give the out. The problem decisions of given require a creating for the executing of text box a particular give the number, the text box to store the to store some numbers of a procedures a company has a stock. A label box then particular number with the text property a set of number or set of take amounts a stock. Another label in stock to kind of a message and the button with the text property set to a calculations given this some particulars. Amount of stock it's a 0, the in stock it's a 0. It's a 0. It's a calculations of given amount in a stock and it's a given 0, then it's a calculations. Procedures is a given of a in stock window. Given example. And in stock of given amounts of given it's a given 5 and this is the calculation buttons and you click the amount and give the result. So this is the code window of given procedures. So the create a project of forms, the problem solutions, the create of forms. So forms, the start window, click on new project, click on new project. The new project window will be appear. The new project will be window appeared. And next step, the second step, specify the name of the applications as in stock. The specify the name of the applications as a stock. The specify the calculations as Visual Basic, it's a given of particular code. Specify locations, particular address, and give the particular address and specify the project from give save. Click on the OK button. Click on the OK button. Rename the form to a form in stock. Form in stock. The rename the file by right clicking on the file name in the solutions of explain and setting the name to first in stock in Visual Basic. a set of text property of this form 2 in a stock. This is the given how to procedures of given create a form project and save project and give the step by steps and give the instructions of given a uh, decision making of procedures of solution, create the and add the in stock label, place a label control curves the top of the form, set the name property to label in stock, clear the property text to property, clear the text to property, a label control to the right and about help way down the form, a set of name property to label particular number or amount or figures, a set of text property to amount in a stock, give the store in this particular label a text box, particular text box. So and a set of font bold, italic, underline and give the property to true and give the property to a form window or code form window, they will be designed or modified at property or total, they will be changed in font size and bold and italic and underline and give the boolean operators, it's a true and true values is a property, and text box control the stock a label, a set of name property to text a stock particular number or amount and clear out the default value for this text property. Text property, they will be changed, particular value given default automatically change. This is the values of given property values. So the button control in the left side of the form below the text box, a set of name property to button calculator, a set of name property to button calculator, set the text property to calculator, double click on the button, default automatically a code output message to the items of in the stock. This is called as a given code programming window. Give the example of write down these programs. So this is a given of example programs. So a text stock particular amount dot, it's a given values and write down if statements in end if statements, end if statements and give the end of the programs, and this is called as a given end sub. This is called as a end sub and end of this class. Though so those are value of taken label in stack, label in stack dot text equal to a procedure double quotation procedures in solve in solid out. This is called as a value of given text stock amount dot stock less than equal 0, then or given multiple line, if then statements, then given multiple line, we have to then multiple lines, then give the if and if and last end of the line submissions of given programs is a end of the lines program sub, and this is a program example programs is given of example programs. So thank you.